This is exercise 27. It's dealing with the endocrine system. The endocrine system is one of your communication systems. The other one is your nervous system. The nervous system tends to have a very quick response, very short-lived, however. The endocrine system is going to be slower to respond to a stimulus, but the response is going to be much longer lasting. It uses hormones. These are chemical messengers. Hormones will be released and eventually end up in the blood and then go to wherever their target cell is. So the hormones are going to be involved with regulating several different things such as reproduction, growth, helping to maintain homeostasis, etc. The major endocrine organs are the pituitary, thyroid, parathyroid, adrenal, pineal, thymus, pancreas, the gonads, the ovaries in females, testes in males, and then the hypothalamus. And this picture is just showing the location of these various endocrine glands. The pituitary gland, we'll start with that one first. It is connected by this, looks kind of like a stalk, this connecting, it's called the medulla to the hypothalamus. It has two lobes to it, the anterior pituitary, which is glandular tissue, and the posterior, which is actually nervous tissue. The hypothalamus, as you know, is involved critically with maintaining homeostasis in the body. It is going to help regulate and control the release of various hormones and inhibiting hormones depending on what's happening at that particular time. The hypothalamus itself also does make two hormones. It makes oxytocin and ADH, antidiuretic hormone. The hypothalamus makes these two hormones, but then it secretes them to the posterior pituitary where it's going to be stored. So the posterior pituitary doesn't make any hormones, but it stores and then secretes the hormones from the hypothalamus. So in this picture you can see where at the top you have the hypothalamus, and as I said, that connecting stalk from the hypothalamus to the pituitary is known as the inframedullum. And then you've got the posterior and the anterior lobes. Oxytocin, this is going to be the hormone that's involved with contraction of the uterus during labor. It also can have an effect on the ejection of milk when the woman is breastfeeding. ADH, antidiuretic hormone, is involved with basically helping to keep you hydrated. Depending on circumstances, this hormone will inhibit the production of urine, basically not allowing as much water to be released in your urine. Instead, it keeps more of the water, retains more of it in you, so you do not become dehydrated. When large amounts of ADH are being produced, it can actually be involved with helping to increase your blood pressure as well. Alcohol is something that's going to inhibit the ADH. The anterior pituitary produces 6 different hormones. 2 of these will affect what we call non-endocrine targets, the growth hormone and prolactin. The other 4 hormones that are made by the anterior pituitary actually stimulate additional endocrine glands to secrete other hormones. So you often find it's kind of like a cascade. A stimulates B, which stimulates C, etc. So those 4 other hormones are thyroid stimulating hormone, adrenocorticotropic hormone, follicle stimulating hormone, and luteinizing hormone. In this figure, it is showing the hypothalamus with those 2 lobes of the pituitary, and from the anterior pituitary, it is showing the 6 different hormones that are produced by it. The thyroid gland is found at the base of the throat. It also has 2 lobes connecting tissues called the isthmus. It produces 2 hormones, the thyroid hormone and calcitonin. You can see the picture of it here, how it is in front of the trachea and kind of wraps around it. You have the common carotid arteries that come up on either side of it. The parathyroid gland is going to be on the posterior side of the thyroid. It does secrete parathyroid hormone, which is involved with increasing the levels of calcium in your blood. It will stimulate kidneys and intestines to absorb more calcium, and it will also stimulate osteoclasts to remove calcium from the bone matrix. Your adrenal glands sit on top of the kidneys. The outer region is called the adrenal cortex that produces your corticosteroids, and then the inner portion of it is the adrenal medulla. You can see here the location of it on top of the kidneys, and then a large section, cross section of what the tissue looks like, the cortex versus the medulla. The adrenal medulla produces two hormones that are very similar in their action, epinephrine and norepinephrine. These are stimulated by the sympathetic nervous system and are involved with helping some of the characteristics you see with that fight or flight, increasing heart rate, blood pressure, increased glucose levels, etc. In the pancreas, it is kind of tucked under the stomach. It has both endocrine and exocrine functions. The pancreatic islets do produce hormones, produces insulin, and it also produces glucagon. These are helping to maintain the proper levels of glucose in your blood. So there's the stomach with the pancreas kind of tucked behind and underneath it. The pineal gland is located in the brain. It's behind the third ventricle of the brain. It secretes melatonin. Melatonin is involved with helping to maintain your proper sleep-wake cycles. It's also now believed to have an involvement with hormones that are involved with fertility. The thymus gland is behind the sternum. It is the gland that's largest in infants and children, and then it gets smaller and smaller and atrophies as you get older. It's involved with producing certain white blood cells like your white blood cells. T cells will mature in the thymus. T cells are involved with your immune system. In the gonads, you've got the ovaries and the testes. The ovaries are going to produce the eggs. It's also involved with the production of two different steroid-based hormones, estrogens and progesterone. The testes produce the sperm, and it produces the androgens such as testosterone. The placenta during pregnancy does produce hormones that will help to maintain that pregnancy. Some of the hormones will play a part at the time of delivery, assisting with childbirth. In addition to producing estrogen and progesterone, it also produces HCG, the human gonadotrophic hormone.